Hey everyone, it's CL. So for today's video, I kind of want to talk about a topic that may or may not be controversial, and that's why I'm kind of putting this video out there to get some feedback, to see what you all think. And so in regards to what I'm talking about, it is regarding this idea that I've implemented in my home. Is it an original idea? No, this idea has come into people's lives in various forms. And what I mean by that is when it comes to people who don't like to read, or who don't like to read very much, they don't really find a lot of enjoyment in reading for like a purpose for school, you know? Or maybe it's, if you're an adult, like reading to read more. And what I mean by this, I know I'm not making any sense at all. In my home, I recently implemented bribing my child to read more. I'm bribing my child to read more. And the reason behind it, okay, is because she is a little bit behind on her level of reading for her grade. So I'm trying to encourage her to read more, but there's only so much you can encourage. If I were to just sit there with her and be like, let's read for an hour instead of 20 minutes a day, of course she's not going to want to read for an hour a day when she can read for 20 minutes and then go play games, you know? So that's what the topic that I want to ask everybody. Do you think it's like a problem or controversial or a bad idea, a negative thing to implement? I'm sort of bribing my child to read more. And when I said that this is not an original concept, it has come in various forms. So for example, when I was little, parents, it's not my parents, okay, because I come from an Asian household, but parents would like give incentives to their kids based on the grades that they would achieve. So if you got a B, you would get a certain amount of money. If you got an A, you would get even more money. Now, I didn't even find out about this until later on in my school career. And then when I found out about this and realized that I was getting all my good grades for free, I demanded that my parents pay me retro payment, and they just laughed in my face. But essentially, it's that same concept, like you're rewarding someone for putting in more effort, I guess. So I'm gonna kind of talk through the pros and cons, well, mostly the pros, that's why I kind of convinced myself to do this, of why I decided to implement this in my home. It was definitely out of necessity that we do have to get the reading level up. Now in my mind, I knew that we had to put in more time, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be a negative experience. The last thing I want is for Elle to have a negative association with reading. Like every time she sees a book, she'll remember her mom towering over her, telling her to read more, you know? Definitely, sorry if I keep looking over there because I'm looking at her. I know she's secretly listening. She secretly listens to everything I say. So yeah, so hopefully if there is any background noise, it won't be too bad. I normally film when she's asleep, but I'm feeling so tired today. We're in between the reading time. Like we don't read for another 30 minutes and I don't know what else to do with myself. And at the same time, I can already tell that my body is saying go to bed at like 9 o'clock. So that's why I'm filming right now. But anyways, what I was saying is I don't want Elle to have a negative association with reading. I don't want her to like think back and be like, oh, my mom made me read so much and I cried, you know, because I wanted to do something else. Like it's out of necessity because we do have to get her reading level up to where it should be. But at the same time, I'm in that place. Like, what can I do to make her want to read without necessarily forcing her, you know? And that's how I came up with the idea of creating like award tokens. So essentially what it is that for every minute she reads, she receives 1 point. So when we have our reading sessions, on the weekend we have more than one reading session that we split out throughout the day. But on the weekday, because she has school, we only have one reading session each night, which we incorporate with homework. So after she's done reading, we have like these little hole punched medallions like that are on like a piece of cardstock, that every time she's done reading, I will write how many points she's earned. So if she read for like 40 minutes, I'll write 40 points. That's how much she earned. Like earlier this morning, I think we read a book this morning, and for the morning, like to start off the morning, we read a book, and she earned 14 points because it was only one book. It took 14 minutes. So in that sense, throughout the day, she'll accumulate these points. So anyways, so each reading session, she earns a token of so many points. And she puts it like in a little box, and it's starting to accumulate like treasures, you know? And then essentially she could turn those points into a prize. And I have prizes behind me. I wrap them and I put them behind me to kind of encourage her, because I know she's gonna be so curious. She loves presents, okay? She's gonna want to read more to get these presents out of their wrapping. And right now she's looking at me, she's laughing because she knows it's true. So for example, one of the prizes is this small box. I just used wrapping, Christmas wrapping, leftover Christmas wrapping. I'm not sure if you can see it. And you can see that this prize, oh, I'm not sure how good that's focusing, is 800 points. This other prize is 1400 points. And the biggest prize out of the small handful that I bought, the biggest prize is 3,000 points. So I tried to make it not too easy because, mind you, we just started like this whole we started like the reading points process. We started that like this week, and she's already racked up all these points. So yeah, that is how I'm bribing my child to want to read more indefinitely. Do you think it's gonna work, Elle? She says she's not sure. I feel fairly confident that this is gonna work, because what kid does not want presents, you know? So that's really essentially what I kind of want to bring up to all of you. Like, what do you think? Like, I have come to terms, I really thought about this. I'm okay with this decision. Like, I really thought about it, because I if anything, it's a necessity that we need to read more for school. But at the same time, I don't want to be that tiger mom that's just like crazy. So I'm trying to make it fun and rewarding. I also created like a little board game regarding like some sight words that she goes through each day, and then she goes through like this game. She has a little piece, a game piece, and that when she gets her sight words right, it moves across the board. Like, I'm trying everything to make this like a fun process. I think I also kind of got this idea from her therapist's office. So as you may or may not know, Elle suffers from selective mutism and anxiety. She goes to therapy regularly to work on it. She goes to like group therapy, where all the kids with selective mutism, they get together into a group in a room, and they go through these activities, and it helps them like verbalize around other people. And the way that they do it is that they call it a reward system, that when they participate in class, or just even showing up, you know, and doing like the activity, and mind you, the activity is really fun. After each session, they do allow the kids to pick a treasure from the treasure box, because I think if you just left it up to them, since they all have selective mutism, they can very much be in a room and not say anything at all and be perfectly content with that. So in some senses, I felt kind of fine with this whole prize process, because I wanted to create like a positive incentive to reading. And also, I think one of the reasons is I was digging this memory out from the archives from when I was little, and when my oldest brother was in high school or junior high, I can't remember, but he was like struggling with reading as well. He just didn't like to read. He wanted to like hang out with his friends. So I remember my dad like forcing him to read, and you could just see it in his body language how miserable he was, how my dad was. It was just like a very negative experience. And I think that was the book that he made him read. I think that's probably like the only book he's read in his entire life. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So in that sense, like, I remember just that look that he had of being so miserable, being forced to read. And I'm pretty sure to this day he doesn't like reading, you know. Yeah, so in that sense, I wanted to make it fun. So I don't know. So I don't know, I thought this was like an interesting something, so I wanted to pose it out there for all of you. What do you think down below in the comments? Do you have something similar going on in your household, or would you consider it? And I know if you don't have any kids, it's sometimes easy to say like, oh, I wouldn't do that, or maybe you would, I don't know. But when you do have kids, it's hard, okay? Parenting is hard. But anyways, I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks. Leave some comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you later.